Getting a flu shot is really a yearly ritual for many of us. It's typically not hard to find the vaccine, but Georgia Tech researchers say the U.S. could do better when it comes to how the vaccine is distributed. They're suggesting that tweaking the country's supply chain could save thousands of lives. The Fox Medical Team's Beth Galvin explains why.
The researchers focused on pandemic flu, and that's when we have a new strain of the virus emerging to which no one has natural immunity. So at a time like that, it's really essential to be able to get the vaccine out as quickly as possible. But the Georgia Tech team found some real gaps in the way our vaccine is being distributed. Each fall, millions of Americans roll up their sleeves for a flu shot without thinking about where the vaccine comes from. But when the next pandemic hits and a new strain of flu emerges that no one is immune to, Dr. Pinar Keskinajak, professor at Georgia Tech School of Industrial and Systems Engineering, says being able to effectively hand out the limited vaccine that will be available early on in the outbreak could save tens of thousands of lives.
We might see over half of the population being infected over the course of the disease, which is huge. Every other person becoming ill at some point.
Keskinajak and her team focused on how the vaccine was handed out during the 2009 H1N1 flu pandemic. As the vaccine became available, it was distributed to states based on their population. And the states were encouraged to report and collect data about how the vaccine was being administered locally. But the tech researchers found few states have systems to track vaccine supply and demand. So the distribution is often uneven.
Which means that we may have some areas where people are lining up to get vaccinated and the vaccine is not available. We may have other areas where we have vaccines sitting in inventory and there is no demand for it.
A better way, researchers suggest, would be to push states to create or beef up their vaccine registries to better track supply and demand. That would allow the vaccine supply chain to be tweaked, so vaccine could be directed to areas where demand is higher and away from areas where it's piling up. In their simulations, Keskinajak says that better match kept as many as 100,000 Georgians from getting sick from the flu.
If we think about 100,000 people not getting sick in Georgia over the course of this disease, that is very significant.
This study focused on a major flu outbreak, but tweaking the supply chain could also make the distribution more effective in a typical flu season, the researchers say. And last year was a tough one. 80,000 Americans died from flu complications, according to the CDC. That's the highest number of deaths in decades. For the Fox Medical Team, I'm Beth Galvin.